the game that the path, and life happened all so fast. No, it got lonely. Sometimes you see, I know we couldn't make it. Even when I'm off beat, I still land on my feet, and nothing can shake me, cause I know my time. I never. This is where I am destined to be. I'm not ready to give up. No, I believe in the miracle of life. Life's a play for no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Games can play, can't take it personal, cause the devil is a liar. I'm telling you the truth. It's all in what you do. Some things you gotta do. It's fight for millions. Take a second, see the blessing in it. But much expected, much is given. One to make the living, now I'm giving back to children. Never let the power come first before your happiness. Yes, you can be the best if you go the distance. Mix a little sweat with your persistence. You know that the best things are never instant. Just shine up, let them see your brilliance. Get up, open up your eyes now. It's the moment of truth. No backing down. We're bringing it to life. Oh, for the children, it's a given. You gotta give it, be a blessing.
This my personal statement. Run the game like I'm aces. Learn to develop patience, determined to be the greatest. Yeah, bobbing and weaving, they changing up like the seasons. Indigenous to the grind, so I do it for all my people. Jabbing the competition, back up against the ropes. You fighting for recognition. I'm fighting just to promote equality where we lacking. Or cancer slowing our road. I'm confident we'll make it. We focus on common goals.
Yeah. Give back, give love, giving something away. Never give up, stand tall to fight another day. 2 toes, 2 feet, I stand on the ground. I'm going back soon and fight this final round. Life's a quick with no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your goal.
Sing this shit.
Cause the devil is a lie. I'm telling you the truth. Hey. It's all in what you do. Hey.
Things you gotta do. Hey. Barbershop Conversations, man. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
How's everybody doing, man? I appreciate you, man. We got a treat, a special treat for y'all today. Austin Trout. For those of you who don't know, that Austin Trout is suing the WBO for $40 million. And this is an important case for the sport of boxing, and I think it deserves the amount of attention that it deserves. You understand what I'm saying? And Fanon brought this back to everyone's attention on Friday, and I watched the video, and I reached out to Austin Trout, and I was like, man, congratulations, and this and that, and so he's going to give us a step-by-step to what's going on with the case and how's it going and what the future holds. I'm uncertain if his lawyer is coming in, but maybe his counsel is coming on as well. So Austin will be here any moment now. And I just think that this is an important day. You know what I mean? It's very, very important because fighters deserves the right to, shall we use the term the fairness or what they deserve or everything within the rules? I'm uncertain of that. And but we all know these sanctioning bodies, as we know what's going on in WBC, from my opinion, I'll speak for myself. They have been doing some kind of shiesty stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what it is, man. And I'm uncertain of, I think I first I want to apologize if I'm in someone's time slot. I don't take it personal, but I got to do these interviews when they can do it. I try and push them. I told you guys, I try and push them to 9 p.m. I do my best, but if they can't come on at 9, we got to do it when they're available. And without Oh man, where you go, homie? Where you go, homie? He just beamed in and beamed out. But yeah, man, this is important for the sport of boxing and for the fairness of fighters all around the world. This ain't no just black fighters. This is for all fighters in the world, in my humble opinion, to be treated fairly. And I say, before I bring Austin in, when we see these fighters fight for a world championship, that's probably their 19th year fighting, they 16th year fighting. You know what I mean? We're not there when they got to make weight at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, man. And so these fighters should be celebrated just as we celebrate all these NBA players and basketball players. Fighters should be celebrated just as much. So without further ado, man, we're going to bring the champ is in the building. Champ,
Welcome to the show.
What up?
What's up, Austin? How you feeling?
What up?
How you feeling?
I'm good, man.
First, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day for coming on. And yeah, man, you doing something that's real important, man. And you've accomplished something over the Friday. Was it Friday morning?
Yeah.
Friday morning, you accomplished something that's so important. But before we get into what happened Friday, take us back to 2014, 2015 with the WBO.
All right, so around in 2015, I think it was around like August, the later half of that year, Demetrius Andrade was the champion, right? He was on his 2-year layoff. So the WBO was about to strip him. Well, I was ranked number 3 in the WBO. I believe the people ahead of me was like a Michael Soro, Canelo Alvarez, and I think that's it. Here's my lawyer, Mr. Ortega. He's going to be here to stop me from saying anything I can and can't say. But anyway,
for having me.
Appreciate you, Mr. Ortega. Counsel Ortega, excuse me.
So me being number 3, when Demetrius Andrade was stripped, it would have gone to naturally Canelo, Michael Soro. Canelo was already going to fight for the WBC middleweight title, so he was unavailable. So it should have gone to me and Soro. Unexplainably, out of nowhere, I leave the rankings. Right? They allow. I guess that Soro guy was. I don't know what happened with him because he was overshot too. But Liam Smith fights John Thompson for the belt. And we tell them, put me, you know what I mean, what the heck, basically. And they throw me back in the rankings, but you're like a couple slots lower, and we're like, that's not right. You bypassed us a title shot. And now that title shot that Liam Smith won, it got him a Canelo fight.
Exactly.
Which, you know, in my opinion, if I had gotten the Canelo rematch, it would have been much bigger than the Liam Smith fight. So, you know, that's kind of some of the things that it was ruined by wrongfully taking me out of rankings to be bypassed for that title fight and then throw me back in the rankings after the title's already been won. They refused to make it right, so we had to take it to court. 5 years later, here we are, still fighting this thing.
And Counsel Ortega, what inspired you to pursue this case? Are you a boxing fan, or did you know of Austin Trout prior, or did you just think like we can win this legally?
Well, I'm a boxing fan all my life. Also a boxing commissioner down here in Puerto Rico for 4 years, and I practice boxing. So I represent boxers and managers and promoters down here in Puerto Rico. And because of the case being from the federal court in New Mexico to Puerto Rico, so I was contacted by Mr. Trout, and happiness and honor, I took the case. And I really believe that it is a personal matter for me as well, prosecuting this on Mr. Trout's behalf.
Now, let me ask you this. Does the trial have to be served in Puerto Rico, or since they sanction fights in America, can it be in Las Vegas, Texas?
No, the trial regardless of who is going
Mm-hmm.
to hear the case, adjudicate the claim. What the judge in Boston figured out is not going to be hearing and adjudicating the claim,
Mm-hmm.
because pursuant to the WBO regulations, it was a grievance. What is that committee apply with the basic standards of the American Arbitration Act, inherently biased. So send the case back to the district court in Puerto Rico
Mm-hmm.
in order to decide whether the case goes free
Mm-hmm.
or whether the case goes, but who is going to be appointed court, which is
Yeah. Austin, can you repeat what he said? He's going in
Yeah,
and out.
so
He's going in and out.
basically, because of the WBO regulations and whatnot, they were able to, due to a certain clause, they were able to get the jurisdiction in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the fights that we've been going back and forth with, the jurisdiction versus New Mexico District. Then it went to New Mexico Federal. Because it went to New Mexico Federal, it was able to go to the Puerto Rican Federal Court. So what basically, that took years to get that done, just to get that done, right? And once we finally got the jurisdiction right, we went ahead and went forward with the proceedings. And after doing a whole bunch of extra stuff, then they pulled back and say we need to go to arbitration. We should have never did a lot of things that we had to do if we were going to go to arbitration. And once you look at kind of the rules that the WBO set for their arbitration, they can pick whoever they want to be the arbitrator. It could be the only thing they can't do is have an executive board member as the arbitrator. So assistant, the cousin, the homie, whoever they want to pick, they can pick as the arbitrator. And so what we end up winning in court was they don't get to do that no more. It's not fair. The court ruled in our favor that it ain't fair, and that due to the Muhammad Ali Act, they don't feel like Congress would have put that in play just for you guys to go pick who you want to pick to say if you did anything wrong. So, I mean, regardless of what's gonna happen in the future, that happening right there, I feel is huge for fighters.
Absolutely right.
A lot of fighters. If you've ever had to sue a sanctioning body, you know what this arbitration panel is like. And that's usually where the case is over. It's over.
Fact. How many fights have you had under the WBO prior to this?
None. Like for a belt or anything like that. No, I was ranked because of my activity and who I was beating up at the time. So I had never fought in a particular eliminator or for a regional belt or anything like that. We were looking at, well, look, maybe we could get that shot at Andrade. Well, if Andrade gets stripped, we're in line because we know that he's busy, he's gone. So we was ready for to be ready for that title shot.
Before we move forward with the case, can you explain the process in which sanctioning fees go and the job of the sanctioning body?
Yeah, so they get usually it's like 3% of your purse if you fight for a belt or a regional title or even eliminator. You get 3% of your purse taken off for sanctioning fees. What those fees pay for, I'm assuming, is to help with the officials, the travel, the refs, the judges, for the.
They're like
necessarily they use it for.
They're
the more belts we have, the more we have, the more money they can get. So again, all these belts, and I want to wear all of them. Don't get me wrong, I do, but I'm not understanding quite yet exactly what they do besides give you the prestige of being a WBO champion, WBC champion. What I was saying is that the fighters who makes the belt for real. Like Canelo can make up his own belt right now, and that will be the belt because he is that guy in this boxing game. And I know every belt wants to just give him their belt because he will make the belt. So I think they should be protecting the fighters but unfortunately, fighters are usually the last on the list of protection.
Thank. And you're suing for $40 million. Can you explain the $40 million and the value of it for you?
Yeah, man, because again, being a two-time world champion, for me was, you know, a dream come true. Not to mention, again, it led to a road to a Canelo fight. A rematch with Canelo would have been a huge fight for me, and we would have done it better, where we would have had some step-up fights and made multiple millions of dollars in the process. So, you know, the 40 million is because of my pain and suffering. You know what I mean? You guys hurt me, hurt my feelings. And I've been having to pay these lawyers, you know, for 5 years to get my due justice. So yeah, y'all gonna pay.
Facts. And did you think it was gonna take this long? Like, or did you assume that, oh, we'll just go protocol? And two, was there any act of them to settle out of court?
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna take this long. I feel like all I needed was it to get into a courtroom with, you know, a jury. We put out our facts. They can put out their facts, and the people will sit there and choose, you know, on merit who was right. And I know I'm right because I sat there and watched it, and we have the emails, we have everything. So I thought should have been cut and dry, you know. But little did I know that these courtroom gangsters, this is how they fight. You know, they know how to drain the swamp, so to speak, and that swamp be in my pocket. But thank God I have the resources to fight them. So, like, I mean, they could drag it out if they want, but they got big lawyer bill that they're gonna have to pay along with my lawyer bill, along with my cut. So, like, I think y'all should start saving your money to stop dragging this fight out.
Facts. What's been the conversation prior to going to court or bringing your case to form? Was there any conversation between you and the WBO, you and your management, or you were with Al Heyman at the time, right? Were you with Al Heyman at the time?
I was. Yeah, I was with Al Heyman at the time. It was my manager, Bob Spagnuolo, that you know, was back and forth with them. You know, like, hey, what the hell? Where's Trout at? He should be fighting for the title. Oh, it was, you know, a mistake. We fixed that mistake. You know what I mean? We had conversations. We requested them to make it right. They didn't feel like they needed to. So now we got to force them.
What's Al Heyman's role today in this, or does he have a role?
Not much of a role, but I remember they denounced the WBO kind of around the same time that I was going through this. Well, I mean, it's been 5 years, but they ended up denouncing the WBO, saying like, we're not recognizing their belt in the name of nothing. So, you know, I know Al got his own personal beef with him, and as far as my case goes, though, you know, Al doesn't have necessarily anything to do with it, but he definitely gave me the blessing, like, go get him.
Go get him. Now, have you reached out to other fighters that's been dropped out of WBO, and have they supported you publicly or silently, or any about that?
You know, I haven't reached out to any fighters, but to be honest, I know, like, there's fighters in the same situation. One of my friends, you know, possible opponents one of these days, I still need to fight this dude. Vanis Martirosyan, he had the same kind of deal with the WBC where he was taken out inexplicably. And he was asking me kind of how to go at him. And by then I was like in year 3 of this lawsuit. And I was like, look, man, get your money long. It'll pay off in the end, but hopefully it still does. We still going through it, but you know, I was like, it'll pay off in the end if you're right. But if they know you're right, they're gonna make that end happen way down the line.
What's been the step by step? It's been 5 years, 2015. Can you take us through these 5 years?
I can, man. So the first, we filed in New Mexico District Court. We know that they've done business in New Mexico because the late great Johnny Toppy was the WBO world champion. He fought in Albuquerque. So we felt like there would be no reason why the jurisdiction couldn't fit in New Mexico courts. They fought that, which took months and months, and then switched it over from district to federal court in New Mexico. With that, they were able to take it from federal New Mexico court to Puerto Rico federal court. That took probably a year and a half, to be honest, bro.
Wow.
And then after we finally got that, we get a deposition, and we go through the deposition, and I can't talk anything about that, but we had it. And after the deposition, months later, then they say, "Oh, we gotta go, we gotta go to arbitration."
Mm.
So we're like already 2.5, close to 3 years in this trial or this case, and now we have to go back to arbitration. We end up fighting the arbitration because we said basically, look, if we were going to have to do all the disclosures and all the deposition, we were just going to do arbitration anyway. That was a big waste of time. We shouldn't have to do it. They said, no, you got to do arbitration. So then we said, okay, we're appealing this to the Supreme. So we took it to Boston. This is probably now a year. This is close to year 5. This is where we are now. We just got the ruling from Boston, like, no, the arbitration is unfair. It does violate the Muhammad Ali Act, and you don't have to do it. So from what I'm gathering, no fighter should have to ever do that again. I mean, they could try it, but then you could just cite Trout versus the WBO, and they can throw that out from what I understand, which is great because at least fighters don't have to go through all that to get here. We could just say, don't even try it. Let's move forward. It kind of fast forwards other fighters' lawsuits, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is why this case is so important. And you were telling me it's a federal case now, so now it's a reference point for everyone who wants to, right?
Correct. So it seems to me like the sanction body is going to have to change that up because it's not going to uphold.
Now, in your greatest way, how would you want this to change the sport of boxing? How would you want? So let's say now, if you can implement change into the WBO in addition to winning your case, what are some standards that you wish that you can probably implement moving forward?
Well, this case right now is really all about the WBO not following the rules that they set for themselves. Wow. So, like, honestly, if at the end of this case, the only thing that happens is that the sanctioning bodies will follow their own rules, right? I guess that'd be a win in a sense because they kind of do what they want. You know what I mean? Whoever makes the goal makes the rules. They'll strip somebody and give another person the title. It doesn't matter where they are in the rankings, this, that, and third. Like if they would just follow the rules that they set for themselves, I think that would be a win. Of course, I honestly believe it needs to be way more change to just follow the rules they set for themselves, like kind of a whole tear down of the system and rebuilding of the system that has the fighters involved. Kind of like how America needs to have the system torn down and build it up with kind of minorities in mind, with women in mind, things like that. That's what I think the true help will be. This is kind of just a drop in the bucket where at least they got to follow their own rules, at least.
Do you see a parallel with the WBO and other sanctioning bodies?
Oh yeah, I've been to those. What are they called? The conventions. Gotcha. Yeah, man, and they're all the same. They're fun, but it's like politics, man. Like you go, you give your homage, so to speak. You know what I mean? And then they'll treat you right, treat you fair. Right?
Why fight though? Why just say, it's way boxing is. I'll just play my part. Why fight?
Well, I love fighting. That's my number one passion. And right now, honestly, I want to be another world champion and this, that, and third. But I don't. The way that these belts are running themselves into the floor, in my opinion, if that might not even be needed. The WBA just came up with the ordinary man belt. Is that what they called it? I wouldn't want no ordinary.
They got so big. They just
made a belt that's like. That belt's like it's a slap in the face. Like, how dare you? I won this world title. You just call me a regular ass man, a regular dude belt. I don't like that. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's an opportunity to fight for the belt, yeah, sure, but it's not my driving force anyway. I just love to fight, and I want to fight, and I want to fight the best and be the best. And they got a belt along with it, cool. But I'm never gonna put myself in a position that I'll let the WBO sit there and have to do me right for me to excel.
Why do fighters? Why is the mindset of the fighters just to accept boxing the way it is?
Well, I think it's just the conditioning, man.
Condition.
Before we got in there, we didn't know like how it was, how it is, and then when you get in there, they're like, "Look, this is how it is. If you play ball, you know, you could get far. If you don't, well, then no one will ever see you here from you again." And then that's fear of being unknown. But I don't have that fear because, like, bro, I've been unknown my whole career. I was a world champion. No one knew about it. You know what I mean? And I've still been able to do and make a life out of this game with that animosity or anonymous type of deal. And so I'm not afraid of them blackballing me. Like, what is that going to do? Get me off what, Top Rank or just? I'm going to make my own lane anyway.
Now, does the WBO history make your case more relevant with it just being predominantly like in Bob Arum belt? You know what I mean? Does that strengthen your case?
Or Frank Warren belt? Yeah. If you go back and look, that fight that Liam Smith fought John Thompson, right? The same fight that he should have been fighting me for, that they took me out and put him in. So Liam Smith fought on this card. Frank Warren was his promoter. There was nine WBO titles on that card. On one card, the same card Liam Smith fought for, 9 WBO titles, which is 3% section for everybody first. You know what I mean? He was giving them some good business. Seems like they did a favor for him or something. I don't know.
Now, when you pay your sanctioning fees, does it come out prior to your check, or do you pay them like a 1099?
Yeah, you pay them like a 1099. Well, you can agree for them just to take it out of your purse, or you can, depending on how you have your accounting set up, you might want to pay them yourself.
Can you withhold your payment?
You can. You have the you do, but then again, they'll tell you. This was told. Fuck it, I'll tell you the story. When I was with Canelo. All right, it was a WBA WBC unification fight. Now I was representing. Man, they treated me like trash that whole fight.
You're talking about the WBA, correct?
Was giving an extra belt and made all this anyway. So I told him, I was like, look, when I win both of these belts, if it comes down to it, I gotta pick one. I'm gonna throw the WBC away. I'm gonna stay with the BA. Little did I know the BA was gonna do me dirty too in that fight. But then,
your audio.
So then it was coming down to
you got to stay closer. You got to stay closer to the
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you
go. Al Heyman calls and he says, "Are you going to pay the WBO or WBC the sanction fee?" I was like, "For what? I'm not even going to rep them like that. I'm going to be a BA champion. I'm going to take the belt. Because they wouldn't let you have the BC was the one that said you can't have any other belts. You got to give them up or something like that, right? At that time. So I was like, I'm not going to keep the BC. If you don't pay the sanction fine, you may never, ever get to fight for them again fairly." I was like, okay, Al, pay them in that case. So, there's a sense of you got to pay to play.
Oh, you got to pay to play.
You got to pay to play.
So what he said, guys, was he was fighting for the WBA and the WBC wanted you to represent them in the fight.
Well, then, yeah, the BC wanted me to pay both stations. I paid the
Audio going in and out.
For both titles.
You know what?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it stopped being on the speaker. What's going on?
I'm gonna DM you my phone number, and you can call me on my phone. All right.
And
Back.
back.
See
That
how
sounds
this, it sounds.
that's
Say something. You want to call me on my cell phone?
We ain't back. Listen, I got full bars. This ain't my Wi-Fi.
All right, go ahead. All right, because this is an important story because I want people to
Important story.
you know.
So as I was fighting Canelo for unification bout, you got to pay the BA and the BC their sanctioning fee. The BC was already saying that whoever wins has to give up the non-BC belt because they weren't at the time allowing people to be unified. I don't know what it didn't last long, obviously, but for that fight, they didn't want nobody to be a unified champion.
Wow.
And they also didn't want all the other nonsense like open scoring. Never happened again. Anyway, so since they were already saying that, I was like, yo, I will give up the BC quick. Like I've been a representative of the BA for about 2 years. They've always treated me fair. You know, I wanted to represent them if I had to choose.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured if that was the case as well, I'm not going to pay the BC sanction fee. And so I told, when they asked me if I wanted to let them take their cut, I was like, hell no. And so Al Heyman called me and was like, hey, if you don't pay him, like basically you're possibly not going to be able to fight for the BC ever again. That's a possibility. So, you know, I think it's just in your best interest to just go ahead and pay him, regardless of what happens. You're going to want to fight for the belt again. So it's definitely a pay to play type of situation. If you don't give them the sanction fee, they'll make sure that you don't hold their belt again.
So what was the end result? So you were convinced to?
I lost the fight. You know what I mean? And the WBA, who was supposed to give me 2 judges out of the 4, only gave me 1 judge and a ref. I'm like, word. That's how it goes, huh? So and the ref was a BC and a BA ref. So I had basically 1 judge on my side or on the BA side for the whole fight. And his ass gave me the worst the worst score of all of them. So like, ain't no loyalty in this game. They knew Canelo was the guy. They needed him to have that belt. And you know, it went on to make records with the Floyd fight. So, you know, I wasn't about to stop all that money.
And speaking of money, what's your thoughts on, speaking of the WBC, how the Canelo and the WBC relationship has transpired with him saying basically forget the WBC and then them basically fake suspending him knowing he was caught with PEDs?
Well, again, you know, Canelo will be able to do what he wants because
facts.
Ain't nobody paying like Canelo. So I think the WBC, like that fake suspension was just to show face because they have the whole WBC 360 program, which I'm a part of, by the way. And mind you, they come and hit me a lot. I would like to see other fighters, like how many times they've been tested by the BCs. I feel like, I swear to God, they be testing me like all the time. But yeah, that's crazy. Like Canelo's gotten so big that he's gonna go to the WBC. And really, honestly, like that might not have nothing to do with boxing. They're both very prominent people in Mexico. It could be something else, politically, could be personally.
If I can go back to the sanction and fees, if you agree to pay them separately, is there a time frame in which you have to pay them?
I honestly, I don't know. I always paid up right away. Yeah, I don't like open like nothing. So I get that in my pocket quick.
So really, let's say hypothetically in a huge fight, both fighters can agree not to pay the sanction fee.
True, they can.
Yeah,
but then the sanction fee they can do that, but then the sanction fee can say, all right, then you're not fighting for our belt. We'll pull that sanction.
Got you.
Or if one fighter said he didn't want to pay the sanction fee, they say, okay, well, if you win, you don't win our belt. You just win the fight. If he wins, you'll win the belt.
Gotcha. So they'll basically strip you.
Yeah, basically.
Now,
so then it goes again that the one who who was the best isn't necessarily the champion. It's just the one who wanted to pay got to be the champion.
Gotcha. Now it's July 13th, 2020. Moving forward, where's the case headed now with the WBO? I like that number, $40 million. I like that. It gets press.
It's way more. Right.
Yeah, I like that number.
Right. And now it goes back to we go back to the trial court in Puerto Rico. Basically, what we have now, and what I think may happen, is they either go to trial with a jury, which is what we've always wanted. You know what I mean? We feel like the people will see exactly the wrong that was done and make it a quick decision. Or we can go to an arbitration that is picked by the judge, a private arbitrator, not the WBO's pick. It'd be a private arbitrator, which is way better than what we would have to go through. I feel like if they do give us the decision that we go to trial, a jury trial, I feel the WBO is going to take that to an appeal, and we'll have to go through the appeals court.
Damn.
Until they give us a ruling. If that happens, bro, you're looking at another year and a half, maybe 2 years, dragging it out.
Wow.
But we want that trial, and if they go to arbitration, they can't really appeal that off of any grounds, and we just go to arbitration, which I think is still like 50 times better than having them pick the arbitrator.
Wow. I couldn't agree with you more. That's basically saying picking your best friend. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and go for a couple of days, and then we'll just rule against them. They not even.
If we can get an arbitrator that's not even in Puerto Rico, they could be in Boston, they could be in Vegas. So that brings more peace of mind in a sense. We were screwed before. Like, it was no way we was coming out there with a good decision.
In your greatest guesstimation, how financially stable are these sanctioning bodies, and one being the WBO?
They got money.
Really?
I think they're very financially stable, honestly. And not just because of the fights and things like that. They own real estate, they own businesses, they're some sort of umbrella corporation.
Wow.
I think right now, of course, book wise, they probably don't have much on the books because there's not been much fights. No conventions, nothing. But they're good. They're good.
Is there anything we miss? Because I got some other questions I want to ask you.
No, you got it.
We got it. You've been very front line in it as it pertains to what's going on in America. Why does this hit home? And you've been very vocal about Breonna Taylor.
Well, one, and most importantly, those murderers have not been arrested. The murderers of Breonna Taylor are still walking free. I don't know of any job that you can have where you can walk into somebody's house, kill them while they're asleep, and still be free. I don't care if it was a mistake or not. It's called involuntary manslaughter. You accidentally kill somebody, and you still go to jail. When the George Floyd situation happened, the first thing I said was, damn, they done killed another black dude, man. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you're another black dude, man. Like, how come it's gotten so mainstream and what's the word? Desensitized that I'm just like, damn, they killed another one of us. Hope somebody does something about it, you know what I mean? Hope they get put, in prison this time. And the more and more I thought about it, was like, how complacent am I that I'm not pissed off right now? And I ended up getting more mad. I tell my wife, hey, I'm going to Minnesota. Like, you know what I mean? I was about to give up. I was like, I'm going to Minnesota.
Me too.
We're going to let these cops off, and we're going to burn this. And she sat there, and she was like, look, you're going to be killed. They're going to kill you. Please don't go. And I wanted to go over there and fix that over there. And the more and more I thought about it, it was like, all right, so George Floyd is my problem, but Minnesota is not my problem. I live in a small area in New Mexico, Las Cruces, New Mexico. but about 25 miles south is an ICE immigration detention center.
Wow.
Right? Just right there. A few months ago, a Hispanic man was killed from a chokeout right here in my town. They said he had a knife, said this and that. He didn't have no knife. He didn't have none of that. Wow. And so the issues that I feel like I was going to go over there and go burn another city, this, whatever, I need to fix what I can here. You know what I mean? Because I got influence here, and I think it'd be easier than here in Minnesota. So I started kind of working at home without not ignoring the issues of the nation, you know, the national issues that are going out, but still trying to figure out how I can get this town to be an example for the rest of the state, the rest of the country. So that's kind of my mission, is to help my town out while voicing my concerns and issues that America as a whole. This is not just a Mexico issue in Minnesota. It's America. It's the judicial system. It's the public school to prison pipeline. It's the mass incarceration. It's the redlining. Like a lot of people are like, well, I guess slavery was, kind of set you guys back, but that was a long time ago. I'm like, bro, first and foremost, you say it's a long time ago. I can only trace my family back to my grandmother's grandfather. That's it. That's as far back as it goes, right? That's not that long ago, homie, as far as generations go. And then not to mention, after they let us go as slaves, they had segregation, Jim Crow, the redlining. You know what I mean? Let's put them in this place and don't give them no money. Let's just put guns and drugs in this. My man Freeway told me the story. He didn't want to be a drug dealer. He found the drugs just right there.
Yeah.
So the system needs to be torn down and built up with everybody in mind. You know, don't tell me about the Constitution. I know there's mad amendments. There needs to be more. Or just rewrite it. It can say some of the same things, but this time when you write it, when you say all men, you mean me, you, the Arab, the Hispanic, the Latino. That's what you mean when you write it down this time. You could write the same thing, but I need you to mean that shit this time.
Where you think we're at, and what do you think the end goal to this is?
Where I think we're at, and I'm very much into the Bible and whatnot, man. It's the Great Awakening. When Ezekiel sat there and he preached to those dry bones in the valley, and they all woke up and they became human again. That's the army that's coming. So I feel like, and again, too, like this protest and this whole movement, it's not just people that look like you and me. You know what I mean? We have people that look like the oppressors that are just sick of the wrongs that are doing. While I'm out here protesting here in my town, I got, Hispanics, got white folks sitting there yelling Black Lives Matter more passionately than I am, because I don't even know about that organization, to be honest. But at the same time, Black Lives Matter, God damn it. You know what I mean? So I think it's really more of a right and wrong. It's not necessarily black and white, although many of the people that put these systems in place were white, or not many, all of them, doesn't mean that all white people are enemies. In fact, I think we need to be careful not getting rid of our white allies, because when it's time to write a congressional bill, it's going to be our white allies that do that.
Especially as the system stands here.
As the system stands.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Reggie Owen says, remember Graciano? He won $31 million from the WBC, and they tried to file for bankruptcy. And I'm glad you brought that up, Reg. I'm glad, because
me too.
I talk about that, and then how about if the WBO just say, fuck it, we filing for bankruptcy? Like, this is some bullshit. $40 million. I'll just call it the WBOA.
Well, check this out, Fred. What if they go into bankruptcy and then I could get enough investors together to buy the ass out under the bankruptcy?
Gotcha.
So, there'll still be an opportunity. We'll give the bank what they need, and we're the new WBO, World's Black Organization.
You would be very
World's Blackest Organization.
Hey, how does it be to one of the few men in the world that I can beat you up and I can outsmart you? You're one of them dudes, man. You are.
Well, like you find out, man. Like just being able to be sort of, it don't do nothing but get you down and make you be that nigga they thought you was. You gotta be able to mentally wrestle them, so that way once they swing on you, then you can whoop that ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. Oh, and before I go that, I was with you too because I live in California and I've never legally carried a gun outside of my house. You know what I mean? Like with bullets in it, because when I leave my house, my bullets have to be in a separate location from my gun. So
yeah, you know why they did that, right?
Yeah, and I was
they did that because of Black Panther.
The Black Panthers, yeah, Ronald Reagan. You're exactly right. And I was like, I would love to go to Georgia and carry a gun. Like, that was like one of my things. I just want to go to Georgia and carry a gun on my way. You know, I've never done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So legally.
Yeah, I'm here in Mexico. It's the Wild Wild West. You know, it's open carry state. It's definitely. So, and really, like I tell my Californians, like, look, if the government goes to where they're just against the people, y'all need to run to New Mexico and Texas. We feel like we're our own country anyway. And we're right here by Mexico. Like, you know, I got contingency plans, you know what I mean? In case things go left. And then I feel like in order for this country, let alone this world, to get the reset it needs, I think everything's going to have to go left.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And with that being said, you just fought in March, right? What was that?
February.
Second round knockout or first round knockout? Second round?
Second round
knockout. I remember your son coming in the ring. And who would you want to fight so we can promote? I've been saying you versus Bud. You know what I mean? I like you're coming down to 147. I don't know if people know that. We probably got some new people coming in. What's up, DC Mike? You got you would love to fight anyone at 147.
Anyone, but you know, Crawford, I would love to fight Crawford. You know, I just see something, man. And you know, the people he fight, they play into his style great. And Top Rank is beautiful for that. They will give you the right names and the right styles and make you look amazing. I wish everybody took a page out of Bob Arum's matchmaking skills and build up. He's a great promoter. Yeah, he knows how to build them up. Yeah, but that's why I don't think Bob would give me Crawford, because I feel like my style would give him fits. I would love to fight Spence. I would love to fight Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner. I think Broner's looking for a reason to retire. I'd love to be that reason.
Have you spoken to Al about those fights?
Yeah, I mentioned it to Sam. Yeah, I kept calling Danny out. Keith Thurman. Oh man, I love that.
Keith Thurman is ready. Keith Thurman is right now. I mean, not that your skills are not the reason, but he's such an aloof right now. In my humble opinion, this is just my.
Me too. He's ready for the taking.
He's ready to go.
He's ready. He's been married. He's been kicking in Thailand. You know, he's loving life. Let me go ahead and sneak in there, take him out. So he could go and really enjoy life and not have to worry about this boxing thing. It's stressful.
If you don't mind, what's the pros and cons of working and working alongside PBC and Al Heyman? And are you still affiliated with them?
Well, you know, I still got love for PBC. I'm not necessarily on the roster. Its contract was up. I had to go make myself a priority. No love lost. So I'm not necessarily affiliated with them. I would love for them to use me for some of these fights that I'm asking for. The pros with Al, it was definitely a family type group. You know what I mean? For the most part, I was able to call and get an answer, you know, really fast. When at the end of our contractual relationship, it kind of got away from that. And I think it's just because he had 200 freaking fighters, man. He was trying to get them put on. So it just really got to the point where instead of waiting for Al to give me another opportunity, which were coming few and far in between, you know, I had to just go make myself a priority, make give me as many opportunities as I can until Al presents the right opportunity.
Well, what's going to happen in boxing in 2020? Are we coming back, or are we fighting without fans? Have you spoken to your network? Are you guys planning on fighting?
Yeah, they talking
you
about
sold out.
September.
You actually sold out your fight. so that's a big. So that's a lot of money that they could potentially lose out on, especially in your region.
Yeah. You know, they are talking about a studio, like an in-studio only fight, something just to kind of get busy in September, stay busy. I'll be ready. I'm training. You know, I've been working out. We're on another lock. New Mexico just got put on another lockdown today, so that kind of sucks, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the reason being is because Arizona and Texas are the two states next to us are just inflamed with the coronavirus. So
you're part of the four corners, right?
Four corners.
Yeah.
So they're like, nah, just shut y'all down because y'all like traveling. You want to keep going to Arizona and Texas, stay your ass home.
Facts.
Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen with boxing in 2020. Really, and you know, this whole corona epidemic or pandemic has really shown me just, you know, there's more important things to life, I guess, than entertainment. Whether this pandemic is as scary as they say, I don't know. I just, you know, I wear my mask because I want to make sure I don't get nobody else sick. I don't believe that with my strong ass immunity that I would get really beat down by corona, but everybody ain't as strong as me. And I would hate to pass it around, you know what I'm saying? So just trying to use the common sense, whether you believe this or not, just do, you know what I mean? It's just common sense that we should be using to get rid of it. I have a friend in Italy who was through this whole pandemic. You know, it was rough in Italy.
Yeah, very bad.
It was rough. And the whole time she warned me. She kept saying, Austin, this is coming to America. Like, get you some supplies, stay ass in the house. And then when it finally hit, I started with my conspiracy theories, like, oh no, they keep doing this to distract us against some way to distract us. She called me back, she said, listen, I am in the thick of it. They are not trying to distract nobody from nothing. People are dying. This is legit. So they had a strict 2.5 months quarantine.
Yep.
Now they're living life like nothing happened. Everybody's good, you know.
Wow.
It's not an issue at all. So I think America just needs to stop being hard-headed and stay home for a little bit. So that way I can get back to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to fight. And I would love for the crowd to be there.
But no.
We're not. We ain't doing that.
Yeah. So a tune-up would be, I mean, I hate to use the term tune-up because there's another man in the other corner, but you did say Earl Spence.
Yeah, I'll fight Earl Spence.
What do you think of Earl Spence?
I think he's a great fighter. I think he's strong. Him and that Sean Porter fight was a damn good fight. He showed that grit, so that he could box a little bit. I also think he's just bullying these little 147 pounders because he is a big 147. He's my size, so I think that physical advantage would not be there for him if we were to fight.
Yeah,
he's got to rely on the skill.
Yeah, I think he does squeeze down to 47. You know what I mean? Like Hurd. I don't know how Hurd.
I seen it between.
Yeah.
I don't know either, bro. I seen Hurd. His ass was 200 pounds easy.
Man.
Easy. And then I seen Spencer between fights. I'm like, bro, you look like you walk around like 180, 185.
Man, he's big.
So if they can squeeze down to 54, 47, I can too. You know, all it takes a little bit of discipline. Not only to get that big no more. Right now, I'm probably walking at like 165, close to 170.
How do you like the idea of fighting at 47? Because you got to make some additional sacrifices.
The additional sacrifices will all be worth it. You know, it's all about discipline in between the fights. I stopped eating meat outside of camp. So like in camp, I will eat meat, but I'm only doing kosher and I'm only doing fresh game. So like elk that was killed in the field, I'll eat that. You know what I mean? I don't trust the store-bought meat at all. That's why I don't eat it, in between camps. And that's helped. Like, I feel energetic, have energy for no reason. I still feel strong. Go to the bathroom like 7 times a day. You know what I'm saying? That means the metabolism is popping.
Facts.
And that's just changing the diet. That's at 34. I'm making weight easier now than I was, at 27. And that's just because of the discipline. Now, I remember when Shannon Briggs was saying that. He's like, I'm doing it easier at 44 than I was at 34, but we ain't on that Shannon. We ain't on that Briggs cocktail.
Yeah.
He's like, it's all natural, baby.
Briggs has friends, man, that was chemists.
They're good at what they did.
Yeah, facts. Speaking of Briggs, the heavyweight division, what's your take on the heavyweight division and Tyson Fury? I'm not sure. Go ahead.
I'm disappointed that Corona stopped this heavyweight train that was going. Like, when the heavyweights are back, boxing is back, period. All the weights, they get advantages from the heavyweights doing good, and it's very exciting right now, and we was about to be in the thick of it because I believe Fury and Tyson were about to get down, but not without Wilder getting his third his rubber match, and then who else was about to be made? Dylan White was about to fight somebody. Anyway, there was a lot of fights to be made. They were being made.
Yeah.
And
I believe he's fighting Povetkin sometime soon.
Yeah,
another guy who has a chemist as a trainer.
And hopefully it can inspire a lot of these, big 6'1", 6'2", over 200-pound football, basketball players to jump in boxing, so we can continue this cycle of good heavyweights.
Do you have an opinion on Big Baby Miller?
Nope. That's my friend, and so you ain't got nothing else to say. I definitely don't want to say nothing.
I understand. How about the what happened post with you with the WBC? I know you fought for Jamel Charlo's belt. I failed to ask a follow-up question. What happened in the interim between the Jamel Charlo fight and the fight with Canelo?
Well, I mean, I paid him, even though I didn't win the fight. So, like, I was still in good standing, so to speak. Gotcha. I did pay them their sanctioning fee, and so whenever it was time to fight Jamel Charlo, they came and smiled in my face at least instead of being like, nah, forget him. It was all love because I paid him.
Yeah, you've given us a lot of information. I think what you said is important because I tell fighters, because I learned from a manager that they don't have to pay their sanctioning fees because it comes secondary. Like, you can pay them second, right? It doesn't. And I'm glad you confirmed that, because the fighter, don't you know, I'm not going to say his name publicly, but I did a video on that, and a famous championship fighter called me and said, "You can do that?" I said, "Yeah, you can." I said, "I'll tell you on camera who it is." And I said, "Yes, you don't have to pay them because they're not going to take you to court. They can't afford it. They can't afford to take you to court for $75,000 or what, the 3% of whatever it is."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that with you taking them to court and you being a championship fighter, it's very, 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 very important that they understand the totality of it, because in my humble opinion, all these sanctioning bodies are Ponzi schemes. Ponzi fucking schemes. Ain't no representation.
You don't even get anything. Yeah, you don't get a service or a product.
Mm-hmm.
You win a trophy, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they're not taking you on trips to make you more money or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an investment.
Facts.
You're paying to wear the belt that you earned, or not. Because if you lose, you still pay them. You don't get the belt.
Yeah.
Or not.
Mm-hmm. So when you walk, so for clarification, the opponent, if he's challenging for the belt, he also has to pay the sanctioning fees.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I just want the fans to know that, man, we can literally turn this shit upside down with these fights, man. Like, you know what I mean? And we can make them bend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, make them big.
You know what I mean? I wish fighters.
See, that's what Canelo could be doing. Straight up, Canelo could be. He has the power to do that. He's like, no, I'm not paying this next fee. What are you gonna pay me to wear your belt or fight for your belt?
Yeah.
Right. That's really more than paying them. They should pay him to fight for
Facts.
That'd be turning the shit up. Yeah. And then with that, he'll give up a little piece of imagery, and they can sell his merch and this, that, get that money back. But they should pay Canelo to fight for his belt.
Dude, I say the same thing. Why are we paying them? Like, man, they done hoodwinked and bamboozled us, man. And my boy Malcolm would say, man, Jesus Christ, man.
So check this out. When we get the world's blackest organization going, right? We're gonna be paying Canelo some good money to come and fight for our belt in our arena. We're gonna sell out the event, make all that money back, and that's how we're gonna work. We're gonna sell mad merchandise and have a product and a service that we actually provide. That's the mission to go to the world's blackest organization.
Oh, that's beautiful. Speaking of World Black Organization, Terrence Crawford has the belt of the World Black Organization. Do you think that they would actually sanction you for that fight?
See, then that was the question I was asking. Like, well, what if they gave you a title shot? I was like, first of all, I wouldn't want them to give me no title shot. I would want to earn that shot. Sure. Second of all, I don't trust them to do what they're supposed to do as far as doing right by me. So, like, why would I put myself in that position? I'll fight Terrence, but I would be like, well, I'm not paying for the sanctions belt. He can keep it if he wins. And
wow.
Then I win.
Wow. I love that, man. Man, I hope I'm going to convince every fighter not to pay their sanction fees. They don't have to. They're not taking you to court for $50,000. They can't afford to. They don't have the, it don't make sense at all. You know what I mean?
Especially the names are bigger than the belt right now. And we've known that since Floyd. Floyd didn't need the belt. Canelo don't need the belt. I mean, even as far down to like Brian Garcia, he don't need a belt. He's got a name. Gervonta Davis, he don't need a belt. He's got the name. So you don't even have to be like the top tier people to like have a name bigger than the belt right now. I think Devin Haney is bigger than the belt he has. No, granted, him having the belt helped, but in my opinion, that kid's the truth. He gonna be bigger than the belt anyway. They just jumped. They gave him the belt because they're like, look, he's the truth. We want him to be wearing our shit because that's how they get marketed. You know what I mean? Names are bigger than the belt right now.
Do you have an opinion on Devin Haney apologizing for saying "Can't no white boy beat me"? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I remember that. And again, you don't want to. It was kind of like when Bernard Hopkins, right?
Yeah, I remember that shit.
It was like the same issue.
And he lost. Damn.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Bernard heavy that fight. Come on, nigga.
You better back the words up, man. Yeah. But politically correct. You can't. He's got fans of all colors and creeds.
I understand.
You can't turn your back on them. So.
Nah, you're right. What else? What else we got? We got you fighting Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence. We got you about to win $40 million from the WBO. Nick's Fight Club. What's Nick's Fight Club?
So rest in peace to Nick. He was in Amarillo, Texas. He has this gym, Nick's Fight Club. He had a couple of his sons wanted to turn pro. They came and trained me a little bit. I got to meet this man, Nick. He just passed recently.
Wow.
And really like out of nowhere. So like, shout out to Dylan. My condolences for your father, bro. Shout out to Nick. Rest in paradise, bro. And he was just a good dude. Really helped everybody that came into his gym, into the gym.
Yeah. And I want to give you credit too, because I tell fighters this all the time, that for the long term of your career, like it's going to be little engines like mine that's going to propel your story. And in addition to the media and stuff like that, when you get 45, but I just want to take the time to like publicly thank you, because you actually reached out to me. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I want to fuck with your platform and tell this story. So I want everyone to understand that. So if you ever got something for sale, come back. We're gonna buy that shit out. You know what I mean? And we're gonna support you. You know what I mean? In addition to picking up our Bible before the fight comes on, we're gonna put the Bible down and watch you fight. You know what I mean? Because I was on your platform and I was like, hey, thank you, Jesus. Come in next.
Thank you,
Versus somebody.
yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. I definitely wanted to make sure that you got all I could give, because I mean, you stand up for us, and there's not too many. Most of the media just want to tear us down when they can. You know what I mean? But I've never seen you tear down any fighter. In fact, you're the only one that I see really go to bat for these fighters when people are sitting there just running them through the mud. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And there's one media box at Westside. When I find this nigga, bro, I'm fucking get him out. Something serious. Because he's disrespectful. He gets all his little homies to be disrespectful, and like, I'm gonna catch his ass.
We gonna get them together. We gonna get them together. We gonna get them together. Oh, I can't wait, man. Man, I'm about to dope feed a handful of these motherfuckers. That's some. I ain't even lying, dog. I can't wait, dog. I can't wait, man. And man, we genuinely appreciate you coming in the barbershop, man. This was a spontaneous show. We got this done in less than 24 hours, man. And anytime, man. Please, and you know it anyway. Anytime you need to come on, we'll promote your fights. We'll help get you some opponent. Anything you need, man, we here, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all. World's Blackest Organization coming soon.
Hey, let me be the spokesperson at least for one fight. Let me talk my shit about boxing one time. I just want it one time for the world to watch me talk for it. Give me 20 minutes on the DS. That's all I want.
Hey, man, I got you. You'll be the mouthpiece.
That's what I want. Appreciate you, man, for coming to the barbershop, man. Have a great day, dog. I appreciate
you, man. Blessings.
All the time, dog. Yeah, man. That's the great Austin Trout, man. Man ain't never ducked no one and fought everybody, man. You know what I mean? That man, you know what I mean? He's doing something. What he's doing is monumental, dog. I mean, like, it's so big in boxing. It's going to give so many fighters so much more confidence to say, you know what? Fuck the WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA, NABO, whatever hell is out there. You're not as important as I am. What's up, Lauren Bevel? Great to see you in here, man. Appreciate you. And it's just incredibly important. And shout out to Reggie Owens for mentioning that case, man. And if you guys ain't seen that video he did, you're gonna have to scroll down a little bit. He did it about 3 weeks ago. He did that video, and it's an excellent video. You know what I mean, on the WBC and them being sued for over $30 million. So please go check that out. And just incredible, man. It's just incredible. And these fighters need to know that, one, they have a platform like mine, have a platform like Fanon. Shout out to Fanon, you know what I mean, for bringing notice to the story. I think it's just that important. And we got KQKC is KQKC is normally live at this time, so make sure y'all go give him a follow. You know what I mean? Tell him to go give him a follow. Here's his link.
He'll wait around.
And
he'll wait around for you.
And that nigga talk, the singing OG, man. Please go subscribe to KQKC.
No
you know what I mean? That's my brother, man.
He's a big draw.
Like I said,
because everybody.
Like I said, I do my best to push the fighters to 9 p.m. I do my best. And if they can't do at 9 p.m., I got to do a spontaneous show based upon their schedule. And the reason why I do that, because I want y'all to be active participants. You understand what I'm saying? His audio was a little bit bad. That's why I didn't say you want to take a couple phone calls. But normally, y'all will come in and ask your questions, any questions you guys ask, because we're all producers of this show. And speaking of producers of the show, tonight, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Reg, Asia's favorite girl, is coming in the barbershop, dog. Jamie Alexander will be in the barbershop tonight, and we going in on everything black, dog. You know what I mean? As you know, she believes in the secret society. You know what I mean? And we're going to talk about that. And I got to go to work now. So, so anyways, man, I love and appreciate y'all, man. And DB's not in here, but you know what? We'll play the song. DB at work training motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? Between Sunset and Westwood. Sunset and Westwood, between Sunset and Wilshire, man. Go check out. Go check out. All right. Appreciate you, Miss Steele. Miss Steele, I appreciate you. I saw you in the chat. Trelina, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Selena. Appreciate you, Muir. Aunt Fresh, what it do, big homie? Geechee, what it do? Rob, Unique Don, how you doing, ma? Let me borrow $3.34. Rob, what it do? Your favorite part is coming up right now. Mark Wunderlich, what up, Muir? Reggie Owens, appreciate you as always, huh? I know you at work grinding. I appreciate you coming in and out, man, getting the job done. 3 States, Red, aka. And for those of you who missed Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, she had man, I'm telling you, man, she got to be our voice, dog. Drew, she got to be our voice, man. She had a great show today on Trill Boxing Talk, and she's coming back Wednesday. And I'll finish after we sing this shit together, because this is what we do. We do this shit together.
Life's a quick but no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Games can play, can't take it personal. Cause the devil is a lie. Hey,
I'm telling you the truth. Hey, it's all in what you do. Hey, some things you gotta do. Hey, 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 hey. It's coming up, Rob. It's coming up, Rob. I got you. The next verse, big homie. The next verse, man. We in here, man. Trelina, I appreciate the positive comments. Mark Wunderlich, what it do? Look, Lauren Bevel, how you doing, Redbone? How you doing, man? You the last of the Redbones? What it do? Emmanuel, what's up, man? Hey, I ain't seen Lauren Bevel in a minute, dog. I ain't see you for the Wilder fight, huh? No, did I see you? No, that was Luis Ortiz. I saw you. I ain't seen you since. Wow. I caught some of that with the sorry. It was awesome, man. Yeah, she be talking that shit, man. You know what I mean? I'm black first. But we getting there, though. Be optimistic. Don't be hopeful. Be optimistic. Here you go, Rob.
This is my personal statement. Run the game like I'm A6. Learn to develop patience, determined to be the
greatest. Yeah, bobbing and weaving. Yeah, man. We out this motherfucker, man. I appreciate y'all. I'm like an hour and a half late for work, man. But you know what I mean? I got to get there. I got to build this motherfucking storage unit and shit. You know, I'm behind a week. I love y'all, man. And I appreciate it. We'll be back tonight, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Love y'all, man.